We're here with On the Issues. I'm your host, John Tian. My special guest tonight is Jason Palitsch. Jason, welcome. Let's talk a little bit about local aid for public education. You're talking about earlier we were discussing you have strong support for local aid for public education. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Certainly. So supporting public schools in Shrewsbury and Westboro is a top priority of mine. I'm a product of Shrewsbury Public Schools, K through 12. I know that it's an issue of top concern to many parents and families and students in our district. It's also a concern more broadly because in communities like Shrewsbury and Westboro, the overwhelming majority of what we spend our local tax dollars on is public education. So making sure that we properly, or that the Commonwealth steps in to properly support K through 12 school districts has a big impact on the budgets of our cities and towns in both Shrewsbury and Westboro. You know, this coming session, for the first time since 1993, the Commonwealth is going to seriously revise and revisit what's known as the Chapter 70 formula. That is a state mechanism for allocating state aid dollars to K through 12 school districts. And it is very, very important that Shrewsbury and Westboro have a strong voice as a part of that process, have a seat at the table who knows what they're doing. I can be that strong voice, and I'll be that seat at the table who knows what they're doing. I've been a legislative aide. I know what it takes to get things done on Beacon Hill, but as a school committee member, I know the issues like the back of my hand. And there are some aspects of the Chapter 70 formula that we really need to update that will help both of our districts. The formula, when it was passed in 1993, could not possibly have adequately taken into consideration what it was going to cost us in 2015 to provide health insurance to our employees, to provide transportation to our students. But there's also a pitfall here, and there's a chance that we might be left out in the cold if we don't have the right voice as a part of our process. You know, there can be a tendency in Boston sometimes to look at communities like Shrewsbury and Westboro and see what they consider to be wealthy communities, or communities that maybe don't need as much state aid. And being on the ground in Shrewsbury, we know that that's not the case. We have struggling families in Shrewsbury and Westboro. We have students who need a little bit of an extra help, a little bit of an extra hand, and it is very important we make sure we don't get left out in the cold. Another issue related to this is, you know, I'm excited to work with our new governor. I'll say, you know, party aside, I'll work with anybody who has the best interest of our district at heart. I'll stand up to anybody who doesn't. While I'm willing to give the new governor the benefit of the doubt, I am opposed to his announced plan to push for lifting the cap on charter schools, something in Massachusetts that I think is seen as a quick fix for the problem of urban education, but in Shrewsbury and Westboro is really just a financial loss for our students. We lose more on the back end than we spend per pupil when a family chooses to send their kids to a charter school in Shrewsbury and Westboro. So it's a top concern of mine, not just for students and families, but also for all residents of the district.
Well, I'm happy to hear you mouth your opposition to charter schools. It's a pet peeve of mine that it seems like it's the privatization of our public education, and that's just not the right direction to go in. Jason, thanks so much for being here with us on the Issues, and we'll be back with another topic in a few minutes.
Great.